assure you that my next proposition shall become severely less generous.
Director Peter Berg is known for his gritty yet realistic approach to action-packed dramas that often include explosive action scenes, and his new bloody western epic American Primeval holds up to his standards. Today at Collider, we'll take a look behind the scenes of Netflix's newest limited series. Peter Berg directed all 6 episodes of the limited series, while Oscar-nominated screenwriter Mark Smith penned the scripts. The series follows the gritty and bloody birth of the American West, where cults, religions, indigenous natives, and pioneers all collide and fight for control of the world. With an ensemble cast that includes Taylor Kitsch, Betty Gilpin, Dane DeHaan, and indigenous actor Derek Hinkey, the series marks another expensive entry into the Western genre for Netflix.
Yeah, send some scouts to Cedar Falls.
One of the biggest challenges for the series creators was bringing to life the American West in the most authentic way possible. As is traditional with Western films, the producers opted to film on location in real-life places rather than construct huge sets on sound stages. This posed many challenges to the crew as they were not dealing with a controlled environment and had to take into account weather, natural lighting, and even wildlife.
And we wanted a challenge, and we definitely got that challenge. It wasn't, just me that kind of got really into the grit. I think it was the actors. I think it was the extraordinary crew. But it was an adventure. And then, that's what life should be, I believe. It should be a series of adventures.
Filming in the winter of 2023, the cast and crew had to endure freezing cold weathers and rough terrains, often taking up to an hour to arrive at the location from where they were staying.
No acting required, man. You're just genuinely cold and you want to just feel it and use it.
For the 130th day shoot, only 2 days were on indoor sets.
It was a wild experience, and it certainly was freezing cold, burning hot. It was still, it was so much better than being stuck on a soundstage all the time.
Santa Fe, New Mexico, was chosen as the production hub of the series, with sets constructed on the outskirts in the quiet towns of Cochiti Pueblo and Santa Clara Pueblo, each located roughly an hour's drive outside of the state capital. Plenty of the mountainous and desert landscapes that surround the city and region, like the Pajarito Ski Mountain and Bonanza Creek Ranch, were used as backdrops to portray Utah and Wyoming, both important locations for the story. One of the most frequently revisited settings in the series is Fort Bridger, a fortress-like town that was originally built in Wyoming. A replica based on historical accounts and evidence was reconstructed outside of Santa Fe and built larger than scale to accommodate cameras and crew. And to add to the authenticity of the set builders only used tools that were available in the 1800s.
Kind of did 80% of the work for you because it felt real.
In the series, Brigham Young, played by Kim Coates, seeks to buy Fort Bridger from Jim Bridger, played by Shea William, for a mysterious military motive.
Here is my offer of purchase.
It is later revealed that Young wants to burn it down in order to prevent the U.S. Army troops from having a place to rest. This happened in real life, and to recreate the authenticity of the events, the creative team decided to burn down the constructed sets for when the scripts called for it. But they didn't burn everything. Berg states that approximately half was preserved in case reshoots were needed, as Netflix did not want to spend money to rebuild it again. Historical locations were not the only thing that were reconstructed authentically. With members of the Paiute and Shoshone tribes featured at the core of the story, authenticity and sensitivity for the indigenous tribes was important. Berg and his producers hired indigenous consultant Julie O'Keefe, who most famously worked on Martin Scorsese's Killers of the Flower Moon, a film that may have inspired the new series. O'Keefe hired historians and people from 3 different tribes, including the Southern Paiute, Shoshone, and Ute, to bring authenticity to the many aspects of indigenous life to the series. She says,
Pete has a lot of the language, and that is something that's being brought up, today currently within our nations, is saving our languages.
Alongside research from the National Museum of the American Indian at the Smithsonian, they gathered a collection of photographs in order to create correct costumes, sets, and props. Costumes were then made by members of the Shoshone tribe that included headdresses and jewelry. Care and focus was also given to the makeup and hairstyling department to ensure the indigenous actors looked the way of their ancestors during the 1800s. One scene O'Keefe is proud of is a night scene the crew called "Getting Ready for War." In this scene, she brought in Waylon, a historian from the Eastern Shoshone tribe, to convince the producers to bring in authentic music and songs. Waylon brought in Eastern Shoshone singers to portray members of the same tribe in the series who actually orally sing songs live in the shots that made the cut. These songs traditionally are not written down on sheet music, so the Netflix legal team worked hard alongside O'Keefe to ensure their inclusion in the series soundtrack. Berg is famously known for great action sequences in his film, something he hoped to bring to life for the small screen.
One of the themes that Mark L. Smith and I wanted to explore was just man's inherent violent nature. Certainly, you go back to the origins of this country and start studying and documenting the history of violence committed by human upon human. We are a violent species.
Some causes for violence, he states, are fear, and a desire for humans to bond with their own group for protection is another. Two common themes found in the Western genre, and the main theme at the center of the show. The team set out to present the violence in an unfiltered and unglamorous way.
As much as we could of the rawness and the brutality and the immediacy of this violence.
In the first episode of the series, the audience witnesses the Mountain Meadows Massacre, a real event in history that was committed by the Mormons against pioneers from Arkansas. Berg and his team ensured the recreation of the event was correct based on written evidence, and the one thing they added was to not present it in a vacuum. In order to justify the violence, Smith and Berg explained how the tensions between the different groups of characters got elevated and why something to that level happened.
Folks were able to get this angry and feel this threatened by each other, leading to something really catastrophic, which was the Mountain Meadows Massacre.
Every scene of violence presented in the show had to have justification behind. For some of the actors, this was their first time taking on Western roles.
Night shoots in the snow and a child actor and Taylor Kitsch. It was just a lot of elements of like, this is going to be tough.
To prepare for their roles, several actors, including Sarah Lightfoot Leon, attended a month-long cowboy camp where they learned how to work as ranch hands and cope with the demanding and painful parts of acting like a cowboy. Specialists came in to teach the actors different cowboy-like skills, including how to lasso a rope and how to ride a horse. They were taught to get comfortable with their horses and learned how to ride through 3 feet of snow. The actors also went through extensive gun training, learning how to properly shoot an era-appropriate gun and about gun safety on set. Many actors during the audition and casting phase were asked questions like, "Are you in physical shape? Are your knees good? Is your back okay?" So the casting directors can get a better sense of the cast. Despite the training and advanced health screenings, injuries were unavoidable though. Kitsch, who plays Isaac, broke his foot 2 episodes into production and had to remain in a boot for 6 weeks.
Literally the same day I got out of the boot, I was in surgery. So that was fun.
And it's those details of a dedicated cast and crew to their craft that truly makes the show worthy of watching.
What brought you here? To this place, Mr. Bridger.
All 6 episodes of American Primeval are available to stream on Netflix. And with some of today's behind-the-scenes knowledge, you'll have a better understanding of the hard work and attention to detail the creative team took to ensure an authentic retelling of a dark time in American West history.